This is FightFans Radio.
Hey everybody! It's another edition of the Untethered MMA podcast. Not podcast. This is not a podcast. I'm sorry.
It's not a podcast.
It's not a
Damn,
podcast.
Mike.
Another episode of Untethered MMA
Michael.
on FightFans Radio. It is September 13th. It is my birthday, so if you want to call in and talk to me, you can call in at 410-988-6525. You can reach the three jokers that are on the show on Twitter. You can reach me at It's Mike Fagan. You can reach Derek Suboticki at FightLeakerSubo. And you can reach Bleacher Report's all-star writer extraordinaire, Matt Roth, at MattRoth512.
Also, party planner extraordinaire. You forgot that.
Also, Matt gave me advice for my birthday. I believe it was shots, bacon, whiskey, and blowjobs.
Perfect party.
Perfect. Yeah, it's also a shame that people don't get to hear what goes on before the show.
I mean, our pre-show banter, I think, is better than our show. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I almost feel like we should record that as like a special podcast only available on iTunes.
I think we should broadcast that and not do the show.
That's another unconventional yet great idea, Matt Roth.
I'm just full of great ideas.
I don't know how unconventional bacon and blowjobs are. Those seem to be two staples of the American pleasure experience.
Well, when you're suggesting that to someone who doesn't eat bacon,
I'm going to suggest that to you every time we talk now. Eat fucking bacon.
Yeah, seriously, man. I know that you're a pescatarian or a pescatarian, whatever you.
You're a pastafarian or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, you're a pastafarian, but really, man, you should be eating bacon.
It's one of the best parts of the pig.
No, it's one of the best parts of nature. Like it grows on a plant, right?
There is no bacon tree. No, but no, those.
There should be a bacon tree. Now here's a question. Here's a question. Science, I believe, could probably make a bacon tree. Would that make it a vegetable?
That's not how it works, Matt. You can't make meat from a plant.
Dude, they can fucking clone a sheep.
Well, cloning a sheep means you make a sheep from a sheep, not that you grow a sheep from a tree. There are a few things that you have to jump through.
All right. But they can grow an ear on a mouse's back, but they can't make bacon grow from a tree?
No, it's still meat off of meat, bro. You can use meat to make meat.
Meat off of trees.
No. Go plant a hot dog tree and see how that works for you. You won't be the first Texan to do it.
All right. Look. Science, make it happen.
Get off your asses. Enough of that cure for cancer bullshit. I want bacon.
Yeah, look, I don't really give a shit about the CERN anymore. I want you guys to make a bacon tree.
Well, what if they were on the CERN and they had two pieces of bacon flying towards each other? Like what?
And then they made a super bacon?
Like the bacon hoson particle.
And like crazy. Like a black hole of bacon.
And
all it does is absorb more bacon.
Well, then all the bacon in the world would go into this one hole, Matt. Now you're not thinking ahead.
Belly. It's called my belly.
God damn it. All right, so fights, MMA, stuff.
Well, it's good that we started the show with a call to science like that. But yeah, we actually have fight talk to get into.
There's no fights to talk about. Fuck everything, man.
Well, there's no fights per se, but there is fight news.
Here, let's start with this. Of all the fights that have been canceled this year, which one pissed you off the most?
Oh,
that's a great question, and I'm glad I just thought of it. Because I got to think about my answer while you guys are answering.
I got to think which ones got canceled. Well, let's just get into the news real quick. Obviously, Jose Aldo and Quentin Jackson both pull out of their fights at UFC 153, and we'll get to the replacements in a second. But man, what fights have been canceled this year? Aldo probably up there for me in terms of kind of taking the wind out of my sails.
Yeah, Aldo Edgar, I think, is up there for me.
Jones Hendo, GSP Diaz was technically next last year, so that doesn't count for this year.
I'm pissed at the cancellation of John Jones and Chael Sonnen.
Is that really a cancellation?
Let me run with it, man.
You'd have rather got it's Hendo Jones for you because that's the one that cost you money. So
no,
that's the only
John Jones. Here's the funny thing: if somebody wanted to blame the recent injury woes on John Jones, you technically could. Like there's a like you could actually make the argument that the 153 injury woes are still John Jones's fault.
I blame Obama personally, but go ahead.
I blame Obama because obviously his Obamacare is horrendous. And that's the last of the politics on this show.
If anyone's out there that can point me to a list of canceled fights in 2012, that would be great.
There was a guy in the Sherdog forums that actually put together all the total injured fights and showed that the last 2 years there has been about a 5% jump of injured fights versus total fights. So about 15% of fights being pushed off or canceled to 20%. And that's a noticeable jump, especially when it keeps happening to main eventers.
Oh, I see fights that were canceled.
And again, it's not just the number of fights, it's the percentage of fights that were canceled versus the percentage of fights that did happen. So it's not merely a function of more cards. We're seeing more injuries per card.
This is I got a list here.
And we're talking 2012 or are we talking in a calendar year?
Well, calendar year, the only fight from the last 3 months of last year that really pissed anybody off was GSP Diaz. And I don't know if that was figured out. Well, was that before September 1st, though, that George blew out his knee?
Wait. Can we actually reset a little bit and talk about how all this bad news happened on September 11th?
No.
It was like September 11th all over again.
And it was the 11th anniversary, dude. Numerology.
Numerology's crazy.
The fuck out of here. It's also a really bad Jim Carrey movie.
Wait, there was a movie called Numerology?
No, it was like 13, I think.
I thought that was called The Truman Show.
No, I love that movie. Go fuck yourself.
That movie is awesome.
I cried at that movie when I was a kid, and my mom said she didn't like it, and I thought she was a robot.
That's because you're a pansy.
Dude, he was drowning, and the guy from Apollo 13 didn't care at all.
Who, Ed Harris?
That's right. He's always going to be the guy from Apollo 13 for me. I'm sorry. He's Mission Commander.
God. Google's failing me, boys.
Mike, you don't have to keep worrying about this. We're talking about Apollo 13 right now.
But there isn't one that jumps. It seems like a routine thing, and every time you hear it, it's like the worst thing ever. But we seem to get over it, and in a few months, you're not going back saying, "Man, I was really pissed when that happened." You kind of move on.
Wait, for worst injury of the year, could I just say like UFC 149 and just like all encompassing?
What was that? What was that 149 that got canceled?
That was Calgary. That was like the worst card ever because of all the injuries. Or how about UFC 147, which also was the worst card ever?
I don't know if you can have two worst cards ever in like 3 events, bro.
Yeah, dude, they were the worst cards ever.
Well, I got to go to 150, and it was pretty cool. But
that was a really fun card.
Yeah, 147 was the Brazil show, right?
Yep.
Worst injury of the year is Jerry Lawler's heart attack, according to Gino Morasco. Sorry, we're focusing on sports today, Gino. And I love pro wrestling.
But Gino's right. Gino's right. The worst injury of the year is definitely Jerry Lawler.
Everything that we've heard is wonderful and amazing about how he's come back, that even after what happened at the arena, the fact that it happened while he was on TV probably saved his life.
Dude,
if he'd have been at home when that happened,
I know that Mike doesn't watch wrestling. Do you watch wrestling still, or no, not really?
I turned it on from time to time. Like I watch SummerSlam, which I haven't done in years.
Man, that was really the most depressing night because, like, I grew up watching Jerry Lawler. Like, I grew up listening to him talk about puppies.
You know what? Yeah, puppies. You know what made me sad? I talked to so many kids this week that did not know what a Kiss My Feet match was.
That's crazy too.
And those were some of the best like vignettes in the history of pro wrestling, with Jerry Lawler like walking around a horse stall, like fucking letting horse shit seep in between his toes. Like, I'm not gonna wash these things for months.
And then he make him kiss his feet. Like,
yes,
brilliant.
That was the whole point of the match.
I did tune into Raw this week, Matt. I got home. I was on my way home from the gym when I saw the news on Twitter, and I came home and put Raw on. It was kind of a weird thing, especially with no commentary and that final promo between Punk and Cena, which was
their best. That, by the way, John Cena's best promo in like a decade.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was just really weird that, and obviously Jerry Lawler, you know, going back to the Owen Hart thing, and the thing that Vince said was, you know, Owen would want the show to go on, and you know, Owen didn't have his heart in the business like other people do, and Jerry's the kind of guy that would want the show to go on.
This isn't exactly the same thing. I didn't understand the comparisons. I would have let this show go on as McMahon did with King being wheeled out of there, but I would not have continued the Owen show. He fell from the roof, so clearly you have some technical difficulties. He dies in the ring before the show even starts, so there's no justification for just finishing it out and giving the fans what they paid for. There, you know, the other comparison that I'd make would be to that Tulane football game. That kid broke his neck, and, you know, the whole stadium goes silent. He's getting CPR on the sidelines. He's wheeled off in a hospital. He's paralyzed. But the game goes on, and that's what you do in a sporting competition or, you know, a wrestling match, a wrestling show. When somebody gets injured or something bad like that happens, the show goes on most of the time unless it's, you know, really horrific. And I think the Owen Hart situation fell under that.
Well, I think there's also
I just don't know how Michael Cole actually finished, like,
fucking pro, dude. He's a pro.
Dude, that's so insane. Like, he finished calling a match while Jerry Lawler is having a heart attack.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan, like, sneaking glimpses of it while trying to work his match was pretty creepy.
Like, that's so fucking crazy.
Well, and the interesting thing, too, is, you know, the Owen thing happened, what was it, 10, 12 years ago, 13 years ago now? You know, Twitter wasn't a thing. So I remember actually watching that show on Scrambled pay-per-view, and I just, you know, I heard Jim Ross talk about how this wasn't part of the show, but I don't remember it getting brought up again. I don't remember hearing anything about it until the next morning when, you know, it was official that he had passed away. Whereas with this thing, you pretty much got constant updates throughout the show up until the end where Cole sent you off with the last bit of news.
Well, it's almost like with that aspect today with the social media, it's like the fans would not allow the show to be put off the air. They would demand, stay on air, stay with us, let us know what's going on with Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm happy that Jerry Lawler is okay, or at least it sounds like he's going to be okay. And like, what would happen if that happened in MMA? Like, let's say if Goldie or Rogan that happened during a UFC fight.
That's interesting.
The show probably goes on. UFC events are a little smaller and intimate than those big, you know, events that the UFC, the WWE puts on. I think, you know, that ringside area is not just 10 feet of concrete for them to wrestle on, and then the announcer's booth, like, there's a bunch of people around there, so it'd be a bigger brouhaha to run in there and get a guy and wheel him out. I think that would affect the continuity of the show a little bit more than it did with the wrestling show.
Like, I mean, like, would the UFC continue the event?
I think they would. I think that I think if it happened in an NFL game, they wouldn't even tell the live crowd.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I don't think that like if Joe Buck went down, I don't think anybody would know.
No, they might put that on the scoreboards for people to cheer.
Mike,
Troy Aikman finally punched him in the face. Everybody.
Mike, what do you think? Do you think that the UFC would end the show, or do you think that they'd keep going?
Man,
it's a weird conversation to have, but it's something that at least topical at this point.
There's part of me that thinks because it's a live sport that, and Dana has such a close relationship with the broadcasters that they might cancel or stop the show. But
well, the AC can make that call, can't they? I mean,
No.
I'm sure they have regulations where if we decide to stop the show because somebody got hurt, guess what the fuck's going to happen?
that's also an interesting point. I mean, it's possible the athletic commission might just shut the show down itself.
Yeah, I mean,
If it's going to cause an issue with the commission being able to do its job backstage and all that stuff.
Yeah, like the medics are busy right now, so sorry.
Yeah,
right.
It's just a crazy it's a crazy conversation, but I mean, we saw it just happen 3 days ago, and I don't know, man. It was a weird night. I know that I was talking to Gino the entire time because like we're both Jerry Lawler marks, and that was a really really fucking scary night.
I think the first MMA fighter that comes out to the King's old music is gonna win forever.
Yep.
And I'm a big Jerry Lawler fan too. I'm not one of the people that criticizes the use of him in a wrestling bout before that because it's a fucking heart attack and he's in his 60s, so there's no way to know if simply being involved in a 5 to 10 minute long wrestling match is enough to spur that. He's certainly active, as you were telling me, on independent shows, even when he's not on TV. So he keeps himself in shape. Jim Ross was saying that in all the years he's known him, he's never seen him drink a beer or smoke a cigarette, which brings him down a little bit in my eyes. But
yeah, during like the 80s and 70s when like pro wrestlers were like they were celebrities and like drinking and partying and doing a ton of cocaine and stuff. Jerry Lawler never smoked cigarettes. He never did drugs, and he never drank beer. Like he never drank.
Well, that's kind of disappointing.
But like, so he's the original CM Punk, is what you're trying to tell me?
He's the original CM Punk, but he didn't broadcast it, and so it's I don't know. We could change the topic. I'm sorry for being a downer today, man.
It's all good. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, really, it's not. I mean, while there's big news we need to get to, there's not a whole lot of MMA to talk about. So. To kind of continue that UFC parallel, though, it would be interesting. I think the UFC would definitely shut the. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I think they would definitely shut the show down if a fighter died in the cage or from injuries.
And I don't know if the NFL would do that.
I feel like the NFL would. I feel like there'd be too much. I mean, especially given the negative PR they've had the last couple of years on the concussion issue, I feel like if someone died on the field and they didn't cancel it, there's just too much backlash for them. I mean, it's kind of weird to talk about, but I just don't think there's any way that the NFL could conceivably, even just for their own personal self-interest going forward, I don't think there's any way they couldn't cancel the game.
They would have to cancel the game. I think it would just be. Because the and reschedule it, they'd probably reschedule it, and if you had a ticket to that game, you're good, and you can you can see the rescheduled time. But I think that they would call the game because it's just one of those things where a live audience that would suck all emotion and electricity out of this stadium, and that would literally be the worst experience ever.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I can guarantee you this: if you kept the game going, nobody would leave out of disgust.
I don't know.
Everyone would stay in their seat.
I think I agree with Derek. I don't think anyone would leave.
Not a single person in that stadium would get up and be like, this is unacceptable.
They wouldn't leave in disgust, but I think that the criticism that would happen afterwards, in the media and on ESPN and everything like that, I think that there definitely would be some severe backlash, and it would basically be people going, yeah, they totally should have fucking rescheduled that game and called it. Like, yeah, at the time people might have stayed at the stadium, but afterwards everyone would be like, yeah, that was the wrong decision. They should have called the game and rescheduled it for another time.
Well, and this brings us, I think there's a John Jones parallel here, which is, yeah, the media is not going to like it, but what's it going to cost them? The NFL wouldn't lose a single customer. They wouldn't lose a single ticket-buying person. Just like a couple of years ago when we said, or last year when we said, the lockout was stupid, they should have just given that to the players immediately and not made us worry. Nobody held it against the NFL for an extra day. They were just happy it was back.
Well, I think if anything, the lockout helped build excitement for football because you never realize what you've got until it gets taken away from you.
I mean, here's also the thing. I also love lockouts.
Really?
do you love
Then
live
every
events?
NHL fan hates you.
Okay, well, I also love steroids, so I mean, let that kind of,
And sluts and hot tubs.
yeah. I mean, I've been getting so many people tagging me on Facebook and sending me text messages because apparently that the fact that I like sluts on Facebook now it means that everybody is getting recommended that they also like sluts on Facebook.
Yes, Matthew Roth likes this, and then it's just a picture tits, and it says sluts next to it.
I have no idea where this conversation just went.
Man, it's gone weird. It just got weird.
Let's get back to the MMA talk. So 153 is now a lot different. With Aldo and Rampage stepping out, we now have a headliner. Well, let's get to the headliner last.
It's very fun. No,
No.
Because
There's two other fights that I don't really care to talk about, but we should just get them out of the way first. Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira is now signed to fight Dave Herman, which neither guy had any spot on the card before yesterday. And then Fabio Maldonado steps in for Rampage to fight the guy that no one wants to fight, Glover Teixeira, which should be a pretty entertaining fight. But the main event. So I was on the way to the gym on Wednesday when the cancellation happened a couple hours before, and then when I got out of the gym, all I saw was Anderson Silva fighting Stephan Bonnar, and all I could do was just type ha 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 into my Twitter.
Do you not like that fight?
I don't hate it. Because unlike a lot of people, these sorts of mismatches are. I appreciate what they're going to be. I mean,
what do you think the line's going to be? What do you think the line's
going
to be?
It's already out.
It's already out.
It's like minus 1,300.
And
there were reports.
What
was that?
And Bonner's plus 850.
Yeah, there were reports yesterday that some book had it like minus 220 or something, but according to
quickly changed their mind.
Well, I think Tim Burke said that it was it wasn't a reputable sports book. So that would have been, I think, that would have been up there with the Little Nogueira Sokoju fight back at Pride 33,
or like Fedor versus Hongman Choi.
Yeah, but I believe this is the most lopsided main event. I can't think of any others. I know St. Pierre and Sarah was nearing 1,000, but it wasn't far past like this one is. But yeah, I enjoy this fight for what it is. It's going to be the old school Pride mismatch beatdown. But I said on Twitter yesterday, and I kind of hope it actually happens, is Silva pulls the great white hype thing where he comes out totally out of shape and still just plunks the hell out of Bonnar.
I really want to see Bonnar beat Anderson Silva.
Oh my God, it'd be so funny.
How funny, because what happens to the GSP fight?
Nothing. It's never going to happen anyway, but...
Yeah, but that's gone. That fight is gone.
Let's see GSP beat Conor and be like, I don't want to fight Anderson.
Well, going back to the idea of Bonnar beating Silva, someone on Twitter, I forget who it was, but someone on Twitter was making the excuse that if Bonnar beat Silva, Silva has the built-in excuse of, it was at 205 pounds, it doesn't matter. But if Anderson Silva lost to Stephan Bonnar at any weight, like that would be such a huge fucking downer for his career.
Bonnar is a big old giant 205 or 2, but so is Forrest, and we saw how that worked out.
Yeah, no, but they're not the same fighter. Like, look, first off...
There's subtle differences. They're subtle, but they're there.
First off, people complaining about this main event, you're getting fucking Anderson Silva again. The guy fights twice a year, and he was planning on not fighting until 2013. And he's fighting on short notice. So, there's nothing to complain about because you weren't going to get him to fight, and now you're gonna. Like, why are you complaining? Why are you so bummed out? You get to see Anderson Silva fight.
Yeah, that was a point Jason Amati made yesterday on Twitter that, everyone gave John Jones shit for pulling out of the fight, and now that Anderson took the fight, people are giving Anderson shit because he's quote-unquote ducking Chris Weidman.
Yeah, Weidman just had fucking bone spurs.
Yeah.
In his arm.
Also, why would Anderson take such a dangerous fight at 185 on short notice. Obviously, his opponent's still on short notice too, but why risk yourself not being able to get in shape properly and lose your title to a guy who is probably your biggest threat right now? Like, that's stupid. And obviously part of this matchmaking with Bonnar is, I don't know if it's something that Silva's camp requested or if it's just the UFC wanting to protect their own investment, but Bonnar's obviously a guy that they found that they know Silva has almost zero possibility of losing. There's unless Silva goes out there and tears his ACL, and even if he does, I think he could probably still beat Stephan Bonnar. He's not losing the fight. There's no way.
I'm just saying, don't sleep on Stephan Bonnar.
You putting the bong down, Matt?
No, what bong? I don't smoke drugs. I don't smoke drugs, Michael. And how dare you insinuate that?
It's your tobacco bong.
How dare you insinuate that, sir?
For tobacco use only. Yeah, Derek, I assume you're in agreement with us?
I don't give a fat fuck about the people that cry about the UFC anymore. I used to go to war with them. I'm just gonna let them do it now. Like Matt was,
Exhale.
You get a bonus. Yeah, I was blowing out there. You get a bonus fucking Anderson Silva fight when the best fighter of all time, that's 36 years old, was going to take the rest of the year off as he has earned. And he's going to step up and fight a fan favorite that's only had like one really boring fight against Prokrajic. So, like, what the fuck?
And here's the thing. Stephan Bonnar can actually maybe win.
No, he can't. Come on,
Yes,
man.
he can. Yes,
How?
he can. How?
He's a giant man. He's very difficult to TKO or finish.
He's tough as nails. He's able to take a punch. It's
only a 3-round fight, so he only has to steal
better
two.
boxing and footwork than Forrest Griffin. He's not going to get KO'd like James Irvin. He's going to go at least a round. In a 3-round fight, I'd say that he has a shot at winning a decision. I'm saying don't sleep on Stephan Bonnar. If you want to throw him in a parlay, you may make some money.
Do not listen to that gambling advice.
First
of all, for entertainment purposes only, do not do that. That is. Someone asked me yesterday. I think it was Gino was talking about it on Twitter about kind of being surprised, or I think I might have mentioned it. I was kind of surprised that the books were even taking action on a fight like this. But they're going to make their money on people who are going to put a small amount of money on Stephan Bonnar and hope for it to pay off. It's not going to pay off. And the books are just going to take your money because no one's betting Anderson Silva.
No.
On a related note,
you're going to make so much money. What I'm saying is, look, if you want to make a lot of money, bet on Stephan Bonnar.
On a related note, I believe it was the USA Nigeria game from the Olympics this year. It had a pretty similar line where it was just crazy.
Nigeria looked really good.
Yeah. There's a pretty big basketball bettor, Harabilis Vulgaris, and he co-hosted Bill Simmons' podcast a couple months ago, and he was talking about actually he was legitimately considering putting money on the U.S., which sounds crazy because the line was as insane as this one, but the idea is that it's like if you put to him, it's like if you put money into a bank. You get like a 5% return on investment, and it's pretty much guaranteed. And you get it the next day. You don't have to wait for it. So if there's some entrepreneurs out there that can get not only bet that Silva fight, but also find it with some pretty big limits, I would recommend just betting it because there's no way Anderson Silva's losing that fight.
Okay, don't listen to Mike. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Entertainment purposes only.
Stephan Bonnar.
No, for entertainment purposes only, bet Stephan Bonnar because you're not going to make any money.
You're going to make a ton of money.
Just so you can have that ticket that says, "Hey, Stephan Bonnar versus Anderson Silva, 20 on Bonnar to win." You can put that on your wall.
And if he wins, how much money are you going to make?
Well, on $20, you'd make about 170.
Yeah, huge return. Think about it. I'm really good at Ponzi schemes. This is basically a Ponzi scheme.
How is this a Ponzi scheme?
I mean, I'm guaranteeing a huge return. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme. Look, I'm just saying.
This is just stealing people's money, man. That's not a Ponzi scheme.
It's essentially stealing your money.
It's a subtle difference.
Stealing your money. Like, are you the only one on the show that doesn't smoke drugs?
I have recently.
Mike
You
smokes
smoke drugs?
Maybe.
Michael.
What would your mother say? Let's get Michael's dad to call in right now.
You know, I'm actually surprised he hasn't called in yet because I have not heard from him, and I figured he was waiting for this show to start so he could call in.
Nah, he's probably just ashamed of you.
Yeah, no, he found out that his son's a pothead.
First, he's gonna call your mother. Then he's gonna call you on the air and just be like, "Never contact us again."
Well,
Hey, Michael, what's the call-in number?
Shit.
410-988-6525.
What the fuck? That's the one I gave him, and he says it's not a working number.
Who said that?
Ken the
McKinley
Great One?
Noble, Ken the Great One. The what guys who make me doubt my Twitter knowledge, you fuckers.
Well, I don't know
Michael.
what the deal is.
Maybe that's why your dad hasn't called in yet.
Maybe. Could be. Maybe the phone's shut off.
The fuck?
Yeah, my dad's mom and his sister are both potheads, so I don't think it's gonna be a big issue for me.
Look at you blowing your family's stories up, man.
Also, I'm not a pothead, so.
Michael.
Erica says there's a busy signal on the numbers. Hold on, so we'll try to get that situated.
What kind of ship are we sailing?
Maybe we're just too popular, man. Maybe we finally we did that breakthrough thing. We've tipped, as they said on It's Always Sunny. We tipped. It's over.
You know why? The 50 Shades of Grey episode finally brought some popularity to us.
I'm gonna give it all back when I get my guest on here coming up. I really need to look at their schedule to see when that's gonna happen.
I doubt it's gonna happen.
It's going to be event week. That's the only excuse, and there's one of those between now and the election.
Well, hopefully there is, and hopefully you can get him.
Wait. This is going to be political? I told you I'm not going to be doing a political show.
Dude, it's going to be political with a Hall of Famer, so shut up.
No, he's not a Hall of Famer.
He should be.
Isn't he in some sort of wrestling Hall of Fame somewhere?
Yeah,
he's got to be. Yeah, like the Iowa Man Hall of Fame. So they just have like a Hall of Fame, like the best man. Say what?
Cal Sanderson's got to be in that Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Cal Sanderson's definitely in that Hall of Fame.
I mean, I think he's in the all-time Man Hall of Fame, not just the Iowa.
Cal Sanderson is the manliest man who ever manned.
It's possible. Did you guys? I posted about this on Twitter really early yesterday morning. Did either of you guys read the article that on Bloody Elbow about? I'm just going to read the title. Is punching like a girl a neuromuscular obstacle? And if so, is it fixable?
I caught a glimpse of it, and I saw that it was kind of based on a USA Today article because they did have a image from USA Today in there, which is kind of weird because I think they ended their partnership with them. So I don't know.
It was Washington Post.
Okay, so a lot of those big newspapers use graphics that are kind of that same style. But yeah, it was a graphic, and it did show that they've done a bunch of research, and across like every country, across every age, like up to about 15 or 16, boys throw better than girls.
Well, yeah, and the difference becomes it explodes at puberty, but that it wasn't really so much the basic idea of the post that bothered me. It was the use of statistics in this article is absolutely atrocious. And it's kind of a weird thing too because he takes this article which is about boys and girls throwing objects and kind of trying to extrapolate that to MMA, which isn't that far out. I can understand, obviously, the throwing motion and the punching motion are similar, especially with certain punches. But he goes towards the end of the article, and it's Ben Thapa, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he goes on to compare the UFC finishing rates, knockout rates in the flyweight, bantamweight, and featherweight divisions with the Invicta finishing rates. But there's literally 25 Invicta fights. It's such.
I mean, if you're gonna try and make a point about finishes in female fights, like you should probably have checked the Jules. That's been around for years.
Yeah, regardless. First of all, obviously 25 fights is such a small sample size that it's not even worth using with the disclaimer that's a small sample size. It's a worthless number. There's nothing you can glean from that information. And then the idea of comparing it to men's fights, they're two different beasts. I mean, you're just dealing unless women are fighting men. There's no comparison here because it's two different things.
How a man and a woman interact with an inanimate object is not the same as how men and women interact with members of the same gender.
Exactly. So it just this weird article that kind of took this weird premise and got really off track, and then used a lot of bad statistics, and then just I just don't know. It's just stuff like this that gets like propped up as interesting, or people praise it as good writing or good research, but I say this as someone that wrote some pretty atrocious stat-based articles on Bloody Elbow and got praised for it.
I mean, you're also a numbers nut.
Yeah, well, and that's what bothers me about it is that.
I mean, like most people don't care about statistics the way that you do. Like you were part of the the Fight Metric crew before anybody knew what Fight Metric was. Like you're a numbers person, and so you find it a little bit more. I don't want to say offensive, but you have a different beef or a different view of a topic than the point that he was trying to make, which is that there are differences in the way that things are done. I think that's kind of something really important to mention, though.
Well, that's true, but there's also stuff like
Mike. You need to give our producer your dad's phone number while you're doing this because he's trying to call in and the number's no good.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I had to look up my father's phone number.
You don't
even know it by heart?
I have a fucking cell phone, and he's got a cell phone. What the hell do you guys want me to do?
So you don't have no phone numbers memorized? What's your phone number?
So Mike, if you lose your cell phone, you can never contact your dad.
Actually, I was thinking about this. I borrowed my dad's car a couple months ago, and he was out of town, and I needed to watch his place, so he let me borrow the car. And I was on my way to the gym. And on the way back, a cop came by with the lights on, and it wasn't for me, but it sped on by. But I was starting to think if for some, and I forgot my phone at home. That's where I should. That's kind of what I need to preface this with. If I gotten pulled over and I needed to call him to find out where the registration was, or for some reason just needed to call him, I would have no idea what to do because I don't know his phone number. I could probably get a hold of my best friend, to get a hold of my brother, to get a hold of my dad.
Jesus.
But even then, there's nothing I can really do. And the other thing too is even if I called, and I asked him this too, if I did know his number, if I called from a number that he didn't recognize, he wouldn't pick it up. I asked him would you pick up the phone if a number you called you didn't recognize? He's like, no, absolutely not. So if I got pulled over, I would have totally fucked in the ass. I'll get this number to Erica. Yeah, don't mind talking, guys. And
dude, why can't you type and talk at the same time? Probably the same reason you can't remember a 10-digit number.
Mike,
Derek, Matt.
Yo, I'm here.
I'm here too. What's up?
Who's talking shit?
But I mean, also
so what else is on the docket for today?
Well, we're going to talk to Mike's dad about Mike's drug smoking habit.
Oh man, Derek,
man,
approach that one.
Well, I mean, I'm also a client, so. Uh-oh.
This is so awkward.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
Mr. Fagan?
Yes, it's me.
This is Sergeant Sabatigi with the Colorado Police Department. How you doing today?
I'm doing just fine.
Well, we caught your son with some drugs. Very disappointing. He's white, so I figured I'd call you first, but... What do you want us to do here?
I'm in jail.
I was going to recommend that. He can't afford the ticket, so we were going to bring him in anyway, but...
I know that he can't. I know that he's not able to phone his dad because he doesn't know his dad's phone number.
That's true.
Tell told me he turned 28 years old today, sir. I got to ask what kind of job you did raising this boy, because frankly,
what's
Happy
my number?
birthday, son.
What's my number?
I don't know. It's very close to mine.
Yeah, I don't.
are you guys on a
1775?
family plan or something? You should check the bill.
I've got this. I got off it. I got the same number though.
Are you 1775?
That's right. Ding ding ding
Yeah.
ding.
All right, give
Yeah,
him
I know
his
your
last
number.
4, Fagan. Come on now.
1784. I just found it.
That's it.
You just found it. I'm looking it up in my cell phone, you fucking bastard.
So
Well,
were you
this-
waiting for the show
what
to call
about
me and give me a
Derek
happy
Lewis?
birthday, or did you just listen and hear me guilt you about it?
Yes. I just tuned in. I just pulled in the driveway. I've been out. I just pulled in the driveway and I go, oh, I think I'll listen to those guys and see what's up. And then I hear you talking about me.
Well, there we go.
Don't ever talk shit about your father, Fagan. He'll find out about it.
I didn't talk any shit. What shit did I talk?
Just wonder what he's waiting for to call me. I mean, it's my birthday and everything.
Everyone else wished me a happy birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you,
you
Father.
get the
Is there
card?
anything else? Anything else
you
you
get
want to
the
talk
card?
about before I kick you off the phone?
Did you get the card?
Card? I didn't get any card.
I sent it to you. Somebody probably stole it.
Probably. Knowing this
I wouldn't trust
apartment.
them about your apartment.
We'll make sure he gets it in jail. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Hey, I thought
right.
Derek and Matt weren't going to be on the show today.
Wait, what?
Because that email you sent out, you stupid, about us being out with injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, with injury.
right. Yeah, it's a joke.
Flagrant false advertising is what it is.
Yeah, we weren't
So who are
supposed
those
to
other-
be here today.
Who are the other two that were supposed to be on the show?
2 fighters.
Yeah,
we're-
apparently
Oh.
Stephan Bonnar and Fabio Maldonado, they pulled out, and so Derek and I had to come in injured.
Got it.
Fighting hurt, baby, that don't phase me. Little Terry Tate office linebacker there. You guys got to remember those commercials. They were great.
Sure. All right,
So
Dad,
the
I'm going
next-
to kick you
the
off the
next
phone.
time- The next time that I go to a UFC, is it just going to be random opponents that I'm going to see?
Man, I think that the UFC, and I really want to write this article, is like the UFC should just stop announcing fights and just say, like, UFC 155 is going to be in Vegas. And then you're going to go see if the fights or not, and you can't get pissed off if the fights suck.
It's kind of a 1984 thing they're working back on. We're just going to eliminate the word injury and replacement.
No, like what you get is what you get. Like so then it comes down to, do you really want to, go see the UFC and you're obviously betting against yourself that it's going to be a good fight.
I don't think NFL teams did that. Like when Peyton went down for the Colts, they didn't refund a bunch of season tickets, did they?
No, I don't know. Did they?
Fuck you.
Yeah, they definitely did not do that.
So you're smoking weed now?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Awesome.
I did hear that.
Busted.
Busted.
Talk to your dad, Mike. Like maybe if you guys talk, you won't feel the need to do this to yourself.
Your sister was a bad influence on me.
Yeah, I bet. She was a bad influence on me, too.
And on that note, we say farewell, sir.
Okay.
All right,
Have fun,
thanks for
sir.
calling in.
Happy birthday, son.
Thank you, Father.
Bye.
Tell me.
Do you really call him father?
No,
Sort of endearingly, jokingly like that, yeah.
Okay.
I call him
worry.
old man. I call him old man a lot now, since he's an
that
old man.
was everything that I wanted it to be and more. If you want to call Mr. Noble now, Erica, you said you have his number. Maybe he's still waiting for us. Fuck it. Why not?
Yeah, what the hell does he want to talk about?
I don't know. Maybe something
Better be
MMA
video games.
related.
It better be video games. It better
That
be
could be,
video
too.
games.
I was talking
speaking-
about old WCW games earlier today on Twitter during my stupid Latin American lecture.
Yeah, those
Did you know
video
that-
games are awesome, though.
Did you know that EA made 2 WCW games for N64?
I didn't know it was WCW. I thought
Yeah. I remember that. It was like the Thunder game, and there was something else, wasn't there?
Oh, fuck, there was a Thunder game.
And there was a Goldberg game that was like, if Goldberg speared somebody, you got like this triple replay shit. I don't think they were as good as the THQ games, but I did not know.
I mean, the THQ games are
fucking incredible.
Top
World Tour was fucking awesome.
World Tour was awesome.
Yeah, dude, you just reach into the crowd and grab an aluminum baseball bat or a stop sign. They could do baseball slides out of the fucking ring.
Well, the WWF games were even better. I mean, they just kept...
No. The WWF games, when they were made by Acclaim on PlayStation 2 and N64 sucked. Or PlayStation and N64 sucked.
Yeah, but the THQ games that they made were awesome.
Yeah, WrestleMania 2000 was a good one.
It was 2000 and it was No Mercy.
Yep.
Those games were the shit.
Well, they had like run-ins and stupid plot things where you could like pick which way you wanted to go.
Yeah, the career mode. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I finally got it came out fucking Tuesday. I got NHL 13 and I've been it's been hard for me to get off the Xbox.
Is the wraparound still like the best way to score?
No, it's not. There's actually, as far as I can tell, there's not a lot of like cheese goals like that.
Crash the net. He's got to crash the net.
I haven't been, I've gotten about 10 games in, so it's not a great sample size. I'm sure someone is out there working on it. But it's really good. It's I
haven't bought a video game in so long. I just steal PC games now. I need to buy a PlayStation 3 game. I haven't done that in forever.
It's because you're a bad person.
It could be like the new Battlefield. Maybe I'll do that. Grand Theft Auto, absolutely, whenever the hell that comes out.
Assassin's Creed 3, man.
Fuck you, dude. No, I'm not, no. None of this Italian assassin in fucking 18th century colonies. I'm sorry.
He's not an Italian assassin.
What is he?
He's a fucking Native American.
Oh, they just made him, and he's helping out the white people. That's going to work out well for him.
Over the British.
Indian would be killing them both.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Nothing much. I'm just listening to you guys talk about Assassin's Creed and how you think it's ridiculous somehow.
I feel that way. Matt loves it, but I can't. That's about where I draw the line as far as historical accuracy goes. It's interesting that the Native Americans have those 15th century Italian smocks to walk around wearing.
You're embarrassing yourself right now.
Isn't the character like half Native American and half something else? Isn't he?
Yeah, half Native American, half English.
Okay, so half Native American and half whatever raped his Native American mother.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, this is a fucked up story.
And of course he's also a semi-ninja who knows how to also steer a giant ship. So
I know how to do that.
So basically he's Batman. But yeah, no, I actually just wanted to call to, just to say, just about the recent change for the card on UFC 153. This is the greatest thing that I think any fighter has ever done whose name is Stephan Bonnar. Because really think about it. The only thing he was going to be actually remembered for was for losing to Forrest Griffin. And no matter how this fight goes, this is how he's going to be, this is how he's going to close out his entire career. If he wins or if he loses, and think about every time that he's lost a fight, it's like a 3-round beating that would have murdered an entire army of people. So it's going to be the greatest fight no matter what happens.
I mean, I think ultimately you still remember for the Forrest fights. I mean, I guess if he beats Silva, that changes things. But I think if he loses, it's a nice note to go out on. But I don't think he's going to be remembered as the guy. He's just going to be remembered as, it's going to be more like James Irvin. How James Irvin stepped in to fight Anderson Silva. It's a nice little thing for his career because he was talking about for a long time that he was retired unless he got that big money fight. So he got that big money fight, but he's going to pay for it, I think.
I'd pay for it. He's going to make more money than he ever has before. Is this the first time that Stephan Bonnar has ever headlined a pay-per-view?
I believe so.
I think it is too. And that, to do that this late in your career against the best fighter ever in his hometown, it's awesome. And I think the Brazilian crowd is going to like Stephan Bonnar in a way that they don't like most Anderson Silva opponents, because they understand that they're getting a gift in the fact that Anderson Silva is giving us this fight that he normally wouldn't.
No, they're still going to be chanting, "You're going to die."
Yeah, but with a smile on their face.
No, with truth in their eyes.
And it always sounds like "Who Dare It Is," which is the best thing in the world.
I think that somehow, if he actually manages to beat Silva, the crowd is going to riot, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be worse than if Sana beat Silva.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Because Stephan Bonner's going to be saying, they're going, whoa, 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 I like you guys, whoa, 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 whoa. Whereas Sonnen would be inviting them into the cage.
I don't know, man. I think that Stephan Bonnar. I think that Stephan Bonnar has a chance to win. I think that he really does.
Well, I need to see how heavy on Brazilians the card is. If it's all going to be Brazilian versus U.S. or if they're going to be some Brazilian versus not, like other non-Brazilian fights. Because I just know that Maldonado is on there, and now Bonnar versus Silva. What's the third fight? Nogueira versus Herman, and then after that, I'm not sure what the order is.
It's Fitch Silva. I'm trying to.
Eric Silva.
Yeah,
Yep.
Eric Silva. Yeah, Anderson's not pulling double duty.
You know that the main event was actually originally supposed to be Anderson versus Vanderlei.
The original
plan
replacement, or the original.
Well, what happened to that? Did Vanderlei say no, or did they say, "Wait, this is a better idea"?
I think they decided not to kill Vanderlei Silva.
So they're just like, "Wait, we're not going to do this."
Yeah.
So here's the whole fight card, Derek. Silva, Bonnar, Nogueira, Herman, Teixeira, Maldonado, and then Eric Silva, John Fitch, Phil Davis, and Wagner Prado, Damian Maia, and Rick Story. So everything except for the Teixeira Maldonado fight is America versus Brazil. The FX.
Like Damian Maia is going to get the shit beat out of him in front of a bunch of Brazilians.
I don't know about that.
Wait. Who's Maia fighting?
Maia's fighting Rick Story. And then the FX.
I think that's actually an easy fight for Maia.
I think Maia's a slight gambling favorite. I think he was when I last checked.
I think Maia has had 135 minutes in the octagon without submitting anybody now in a row.
Oh, shut the fuck up. FX is Hani Jason and Sam Cecilia, Gabriel Gonzaga versus Geronimo dos Santos, Gleison Tebow and Francisco Trinaldo, and then Diego Brandeo and Joey Gambino. Two of those fights are Brazil versus Brazil.
Wait, there's a fighter named Joey Gambino?
Joey Gambino. And then the Facebook portion is Sergio Moraes and Henna Forte, Luis Kane, Chris Camozzi, and then Cristiano Marcelo and Reza Madadi.
Or Chris Camozzi, because like 3 years ago I went to a ballroom in Denver and watched Jesse Taylor lay on top of him for 3 rounds.
You did that.
It was a sanctioned MMA fight, to be clear.
3 years ago at King of Champions Shockwave 2009.
Indeed, my friend Josh Huber was there.
For the middleweight title.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. We all loved Camozzi, but Camozzi was like 22 in that fight. He's gotten better since then. He's gotten bigger and better.
All right, well then, I guess I'm going to leave just with what just with my just with a final comment. I think that Bonnar is going to be the only person that Silva's ever fought where I think he has like a 4-inch reach advantage on Silva. So,
Forrest probably had a reach advantage too.
I'll check that up.
Forrest has monkey arms.
But thanks for calling, dude.
Yeah, man, every
no
week
problem.
you're fucking welcome. And we're the radio show that reaches out to your ass when our shit's busted. All right, I don't know. I don't even know if Breen and them boys do that. We're fucking on top of it.
Breen and them boys.
All right, so Forrest has a reach of 77 inches.
Yep.
Jones has a reach of 84, in case you think that fight would be competitive.
Anderson is 77 and a half, and Stephan Bonnar is 80.
Hey, there you go.
Reach advantage.
Kedley Noble nailed it. I overestimated Forrest Griffith, as I've been known to do in the past.
So we're coming up on the final stretch. One thing I noticed looking at Stephan Bonnar's record here, listen to this list of guys that he's fought: Lyoto Machida, Forrest Griffin, Rashad Evans, John Jones, Mark Coleman, and soon Anderson Silva. That's a pretty. I mean, he lost all of those fights, or is going to lose all those fights, but that's a pretty decent list of who's who in MMA over the last 10 years.
I was so happy when he lost to Mark Coleman at UFC 100. That made me so happy.
That's still one of the weirdest fights I've ever watched.
It was great.
Yes.
Dude, it was pretty much just Coleman versus Shogun, only Coleman got the decision because he didn't get fucking TKO'd with 30 seconds left. Coleman was going to win that fight against Shogun.
I don't know about that.
He had 2 rounds.
Watch that fight. I don't know if he was going to win that fight by decision.
I
I can't
rewatched
remember
it the
that
other
fight.
day. The people were going nuts with like a minute left because they knew that as long as Coleman didn't die, he was going to win.
Well, he died.
Yeah, that was the unfortunate part. It would have been hysterical if fucking Hua comes in and goes 0-2 in the UFC. Loses to Forrest Griffin and Mark Coleman.
Speaking of weird lists of fighters, here's Mark Coleman's last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. His last 10 fights in his career. We'll start from the furthest back, 2001. Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, then Don Fry, and Fedor Emelianenko, and Mirko Krokop, and then Mikkel Vorn followed that up with Shogun, Fedor, and Shogun again, and then Bonnar, and then ended it on Randy Couture. So he had 8 fights against probably some of the biggest legends in the sport, and then a fight against Stephan Bonnar, and then a fight against some guy that doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
Where was that fight against the guy with the Wikipedia page? Was that Pride?
No, that was Bushido Europe, Rotterdam Rumble.
That was a comeback fight, clearly. He may have had a sabbatical before that. But, dude, I love Mark Coleman. I was happy when he beat Stephan Bonnar. Not that I have anything against Stephan Bonnar. But you're talking about the grandfather of ground and pound, man. Like, still representing Hammer House after all these years. I'm not going to a different camp.
Dude, you know that Hammer House was not a real place.
But they had T-shirts, and
Mark-
they would run wind sprints in the field.
Hammer
Dude,
House is Mark
it was
Coleman's
Mark
porch.
Coleman's house.
It was his porch with the fucking heavy bag.
With a
Yeah, that's
heavy
what I'm saying.
bag.
Like, he would run sprints in his front yard and wear a T-shirt that said Hammer House. And, I'm not going to go to an actual fucking camp.
Here's the thing. I really don't think you understand this. Like, like their training facility was the Ohio State wrestling team wrestling mats.
That
And
ain't bad.
no, but like they didn't have it. There was no Hammer House. Like it's the most ridiculous thing that people were like, oh yeah,
Can
I
we
fought
post
out
like
a Hammer
pictures during this show so I can have like the McBain picture of him with the brick wall behind him and it says "That's the joke" right underneath it? I feel like that would make this more clear.
Do you guys think that Coleman and Kevin Randleman had sleepovers?
all the time.
They had to, right?
Yes,
They-
but
That's-
I think that they were definitely in separate beds, or else Mark Coleman might have had his armpit eaten out by staff too.
No, they were. All right,
Yeah,
first, Derek.
I went there.
Derek, if you're having a sleepover and you're not sleeping on the floor watching television, you're not having a sleepover.
Dude, a sleepover. is just
Someone's staying at your house. A sleepover, you get the sleeping bags out, you put the TV on, you probably watch Beavis and Butthead and keep it on really low so your mom doesn't hear.
Dude, even when I had people sleep over, I was sleeping in my bed. Like
What?
No, fuck you.
What is
Like,
wrong with you?
Kiss
Man,
my
you-
ass.
Well,
Bring
you-
over your
sleepovers, right?
We got a spare room.
Dude, we had you remind me of the kid. We had a kid in my neighborhood that we hung out with that when we would come inside, he would be able to have all the snacks in the house that he wanted, but the only thing the guests were allowed were pretzel nougats and water.
No, fuck that. No,
You're
I
that
share all
guy.
that shit. No, you can go to the kitchen and get whatever you want, but I'm sleeping in my fucking bed.
No, man, you're the weirdo.
Dude.
You are definitely the weirdo, bro.
All right, you guys.
Like, how are you not watching television in the living room with your friends until like 4 a.m?
You do that, then it's like, all right, I'm gonna go pass out.
What is wrong with you? You pass out watching television.
I don't do that. I can't do that. I need
Jesus
some white
Christ.
noise. I need it to be dark. I can't fall asleep watching TV. I can't fall asleep listening to music. My brain won't let me fucking do it. I need to be quiet with a little bit of fuzz noise, or else it just doesn't happen.
Dude, you didn't do that thing where you like stay up all night talking about all the girls at school you have crushes on? Like,
And then
that's
I'd go,
every sleepover for me.
and then I would go to sleep afterwards.
Man, you're insane. You didn't do sleepovers, right?
No. Oh. You guys need to come visit Chicago. I'll show you a real sleepover. I'll sleep on the floor.
Hey, you want to call Mike's dad back, Erica, like real quick before we get off the air?
My dad wasn't around when we had sleepovers. My parents were Derek.
He
Thanks.
was at the bar. No, I'm kidding.
No, my dad actually was never at the bar.
Do we have like a hard out at an hour here? Because we can probably bullshit for another.
Yeah, no, we gotta get out of here. I got.
Ah!
Sorry, I got shit to do. We don't got. What else are we gonna talk about?
Shit to do, Mike.
No,
I got that softball to get ready for, and then I gotta do some.
Hang out with you on your birthday, Michael.
What was that?
No one wants to hang out with you on your birthday.
No, that may or may not be true.
That's true.
I don't want to do anything on my birthday. It's fucking Bears-Packers tonight. And I'm probably going to have to miss it.
Thursday night football every week is pretty tits, isn't it?
Can we talk about how awesome it is that football's back?
Can we talk about how awesome Peyton Manning is?
So wait, are you completely off? Do you really no longer care about Tim Tebow?
I'm rooting for him. I wish him nothing but the best, but...
So you don't care about Tim Tebow anymore?
Hey, my prediction was like week 5 that Manning went down, so I can't get fucking full-hearted yet, but if he stays healthy, then goddamn, he looks pretty good.
I remember asking you during the game what it's like to have a real quarterback, and I loved your response. Weird.
It's weird. It's been a while. It's all been game managers and, fucking people that were run out of the league and bitches like Jay Cutler. It's weird.
Hurts, Derek.
It's weird.
Oh my